What's up, everybody? Flyer Live Podcast, episode 27. We are counting and counting. Mitch, I forgot to do the math last time, but if you multiply 26 by 2, that's 52, and that would be half of a year. So we've been doing this for half of a year already. That's
It's kind of
crazy.
crazy. Kind of crazy.
It feels like we just started. And by the way, we are. I'm Josh, and that's Mitch over there on the side, and on the bottom of our screen here is Jake Weaver. We'll get to Jake Weaver in a couple of seconds here. Um, Flyer Live Podcast is an amateur golf podcast. We're amateur podcasters, first of all. We've gone 6 months and we haven't even had audio podcast yet. That's up now though. Big
Oh,
big
that's the
breaking news. Breaking news. We are now live
we
on
need, we need a breaking news button.
breaking news. We are now live on Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio as of today. Look at us go. Took 26 episodes, 6 months to figure that out. So good for us. Amateur podcasters, amateur golf podcast. We don't talk about the pros because we are not pros. We're not good enough to be pros. They're way better than us. We don't know anything about pros, so we avoid anything to do with pros. Unless we can use the pros to help us be better at golf, which sometimes we do. We did for the Masters once. We did for another time. But otherwise, we avoid them because they're way better than us and we suck. So, we are live on YouTube and X in video form because we have audio now. If you're here live, feel free to chat along. I can see the chat. The other two can't at the moment. Maybe one day we'll figure that out. But I can see the chat and I will read your chats and we can have some fun with that if you'd like. Occasionally we have some chatters. Follow us on X. Subscribe on YouTube. Or those are the right buttons, right, Mitch?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I'll
those
even have to
ones.
throw in, with audio on Apple Podcasts and stuff. Make sure you give a 5-star review,
Yeah, go do those
helpful
things.
comment. Yeah, those things too.
Your closing statement just got like 6 times longer now, I think.
I'm gonna have to shorten up. Just gonna just say it so fast. Anyway,
Anyways, follow us. Our replays are the video replays are on X and YouTube, and I just mentioned other places the audio is now. So yeah, hang out with us there. Feel free to chat along anytime, anywhere. We're trying to build a community here of amateur golfers that just want to chat golf and hang out. So do all those things. Today we have a very special guest and a friend of ours that we have
in
finally met in person, which was exciting. We have Jake Weaver with us. Hello, Jake.
Yes.
Jake is I would be shocked if anybody, especially anybody that's watching us on X, which is where most of our viewers come from, does not know who Jake is. Jake is at Midwest Golf Jake on Twitter.
Yep.
I said X, but we are a Twitter team here, Jake. We use Twitter, not X.
That's fine.
I accidentally say X sometimes, and then Mitch gets mad at me. So, anyways, that's where Jake is. And Jake also hosted the first X Invitational, which is very fun. Mitch and I got to attend. I got to play with Jake in Jake's group. He got to experience one of the craziest meltdowns from a relatively good golfer, maybe of all time.
We won't talk about it.
I did, however, I did prove how dedicated of a teammate I am, Jake. I jumped into a river for you.
That is true. And did your shoes ever recover from that?
My shoes, the fucking dog. My shoes have recovered. They took a couple washes to get back to white. The problem was I jumped into that thing, and I was wearing white shoes.
Yeah.
And they were brown for a while. And I also didn't find the ball I was looking for, but the effort was there.
The effort was there. Yeah. We needed all the help we could get that day. You did hit the longest drive I've ever seen on 18 though.
I'm hoping that next time I get there that there might be a plaque where that ball was. I didn't finish that hole, by the way, because where that ball ended up was not in play. But yeah, the ball was next to the clubhouse, which is behind the green. Yes.
Yeah, you probably hit that probably 330 with a mini driver.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that happened. That was one of the about 6 holes that day, by the way, that I did not put the ball into the cup. So when I mentioned biggest meltdown by like a good player ever, I mean that's kind of how the day went. We didn't
That's
win
how most
anything.
people's yeah, that's how most people's first round at Elmwood goes. We had a few guys that played really well for their first round, and that's very rare.
Yeah,
That,
Mitch.
that was me. I shot a 73 out there.
Yeah, well, you're a scratch golfer, so
Yeah, yeah.
Not at the time. I was a 2.
We're gonna have to kick you off. You're gonna be pro soon, so we're gonna have to kick you off this podcast. You're a pro golfer, Mitch.
Yeah. We don't want to get in the conversation of the difference between scratch and pros here.
No, we don't.
Save
yeah.
I
that for
mean,
us.
Mitch, you could probably take an LPGA player now, right?
Ooh,
Obviously, yeah. I mean, every
Yeah.
scratch golfer can. I mean, you're setting me up from
Obviously.
7,200 and they can't beat me. It's
Yeah,
impossible.
obviously.
I love those conversations on Twitter. Jake, you're really good at those, by the way. I'm gonna tell you what. We can start at X Twitter just because that's where we are already, or at golf Twitter,
Yeah.
not
So-
X Twitter, golf Twitter.
Where should we start? I would say we should let Jake introduce himself, but I mean, he is internet famous, so I don't know if it's necessary here. But
I
we,
mean, I don't
we
know if I'm
can.
internet famous. Yeah, I mean, I can quick. I live in Iowa. I've been on X for I don't know 10 years or so, and
Mhm.
have slowly built up a decent following, and have met a lot of really cool people through X. I've got we had the 36 people from X at or Twitter, so I got to switch to Twitter. I try to respect Elon's wishes because you never know when he's gonna be like he's gonna have the evil overlord take over the world. But um, yeah, and I had 36 guys from Twitter at Elmwood earlier this year for the X Invitational. My friend Ben and I hosted for 5 years. We called it the Griever Cup because it's Ben Green and Jake Weaver. We combined our last names. We were clever, and that was usually 15 to 20 guys from Twitter. And yeah, just all last weekend I was at a Prairie Club with 8 guys, and 5 of them I'd met through Twitter. There was only 3 that I knew through normal means. Yeah, been golfing. I'm 40, in my late 40s. I've been golfing for 40 years. I think I'm on the downward slide to mediocrity. I peaked 4 or 5 years ago. I was pretty good, and now I'm struggling. So
What so I was gonna ask you about that because you've been pretty open on Twitter about your recent struggles, especially this year. Um, what do you like care about that at all? Are you more like, okay, I'm getting a little bit older, like 40's not old by any means, but you're
no,
getting older compared to like you've been playing golf for 40 years, like so that's a long time. So you're
yeah,
kind of you're like going through the motions a little bit. Obviously, you can't be really, really good at golf forever. So are you hitting the stage where it's like, okay, I'm just not going to be really, really good forever, and if my handicap starts getting a little worse, then that's okay? Or are you still like hyper motivated to try and get your handicap back down to like a 0 or whatever?
I'd like to get back under 5. I mean, I don't have the time to practice to get down to 0. I mean, I've seen Mitch's videos. I know how much Mitch practices.
Mm-hmm.
The one year I got to 0 was the year that I played the most golf, probably since I was a kid. I think I played over 150 rounds because it was 2021. It was like still kind of COVID, so we were still working from home. I lived 3 minutes from the golf course, so like if I had a long lunch, I'd go play. So I was just playing all the time, and I just don't have that time now. We're back in the office. I took a promotion, so I'm working a lot more than I was then. Um, and so but I would really like to figure out how to get back down under 5. Just I'm a 6.1 right now, which doesn't sound awful, but when
It's
you've
really
been
good,
under 5,
actually.
yeah, but when you've been under 5 since I don't know, I'm trying to remember the first time I got fitted for clubs because I went from a 7 to a 4 the first time I got fitted for clubs. So I was a lifelong believer in club fitting.
Mm-hmm.
So it was probably like 04, 05. So 20 years I've been under 5, and so it's just this weird place to be. And it's like I feel like I have the ability to play that well,
Mhm.
but I just keep doing stupid stuff. Like I'm standing on 18T at Prairie Club Dunes, which is 100 yards wide, and I miss it in the left no-mo, and I can't find it. I mean, it's like there's a football field to the right. So it's stuff like that. Like I don't understand where that swing comes from. and it's probably because I don't work out enough, I don't stretch enough, so I just can't move. And then so big wide fairway, I tried to swing a little extra hard, I yanked it.
I love those are my favorite. There's a course near me. It's called the Royal Golf Club. I don't know if you've been. It used to be public. It's private now. It was uh it was Arnie's last design, by the way.
Is that the one he did with Annika?
Yeah, it was. So it's Arnie's last design and Annika's first design. They one of them did the back nine and one of them did the front. I don't remember which is which, but yeah. So
I
it's
haven't played it, but I've heard of it.
yeah. So they have a hole there that's probably similar. Damn near like 100 yard wide fairway. Every time I stand on that tee box, I tell anybody who I'm with, fairway's impossible to miss. Just swing hard, and I see people miss it all the time. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Well, and the worst part about mine is I mean it was in the middle of the worst round I've had all year. I needed a par to break 90, so I shot a 91 because I made double, and that was a generous double. That was like I'm gonna just sit in the cart and you guys finish the hole and I'm writing down a 6 type of double.
Fair.
That's-
That's fair.
Hmm.
So,
do
oh,
you
you
think that-
you go ahead, Mitch.
I'm just curious about missing this fairway because, I mean, I haven't played with you, but I'm assuming your dispersion is not 50 yards left, 50 yards right. I mean, your dispersion's got to be
No,
tighter.
I don't hit it far enough to have that big of a dispersion. I think so. I was playing with Brock Rutherford, another Twitter guy, and he said I was lined up over there. So if that's it, then that's even worse. That's like even worse than a bad swing, is I just didn't pay attention to where I was lining up.
Yeah.
And he said he thought I was trying to hit a big fade, and I'm like, when do I ever hit a big fade?
We've talked about that on multiple occasions, like literally dating back to maybe the first episode, because that was one of my problems. Is I was hitting the ball out of bounds left a lot, um, and so I was annoyed going to the range, and I would go to the range, and I'm like, dude, I'm just striping the ball in the range, and then I figured out that when I was going to the course, I was used to hitting like a little fade slash sometimes slice, depending on how the day's going. But in the past, I used to hit that, and now my ball goes relatively straight when I hit it good. So I was actually smashing the ball at the beginning of the year. I was just aiming out of bounds.
Oh yeah,
So we've gone over setup and stuff a whole lot. It's very important to hitting good golf shots. You could hit a great shot if you're not lined up right. You're dead. It's crazy.
Right. What I would be curious about is like, so out there in the sand hills, like, what's the aiming points like? So I can imagine it's pretty open out there. So for me, I know I struggle to get aligned correctly if I don't have something out in the distance that I can like center my shaft to and be like, okay, that's my line point, and I can draw that imaginary line back and get lined up. But if there's nothing there, I mean, it's difficult to make sure you do it right.
yeah, yeah. We talked about it because on the way home we stopped and played in Norfolk, Nebraska, which for some reason they pronounce it Norfolk. And we played a very old tree line course. And Pat Herb, who's a very good player, made the comment. It's like when you're playing in the sand hills, you just kind of pick a general direction, aim, and here you got to be very precise. And that probably is part of it. Is it's it's so wide, and you just stand up there like I can hit this anywhere. So you don't really pay attention to where you're lined up because what are in my mind, I didn't even think about lineup. What are the chances I'm lined up in the left junk? So
Right. Interesting. Is that so that's Sand Hill. Is that similar like Iowa, Nebraska-ish golf? Is all of like Iowa, Nebraska-ish golf kind of like that? Or I guess my question is what is it that like really stands out about like Iowa and Nebraska golf? Because it's like a destination situation. Like people go to Iowa and Nebraska for their specific type of golf, like in the Midwest-ish for that type of golf. And I play in Minnesota and Wisconsin. I just hit it into the trees all the time. So
Yeah.
I don't know a whole lot about that. What is that kind of a feature that
Not really in
people
Iowa.
like?
No, not really in Iowa. Iowa golf is a lot more like I lived in Minnesota for a couple of years, and Iowa golf's a lot more like Minnesota golf, especially southern Minnesota. It's
Okay.
farm golf courses. There's a couple really good ones. Most of them are private. The Harvester, Cedar Rapids Country Club, Davenport Country Club. I'm biased by Elmwood, Wakanda Club. But the most of the public courses, it's built on good farmland, so it's not what you find when you get to Nebraska. And actually, Eastern Nebraska is kind of like that too. Around Omaha, they have some really good courses. And they have some really good land movement with the Missouri River there, and the Platte River is just a little bit south, but it's still like good cropland that it's built on. It's not a really sandy base, but once you get going west in Nebraska, you hit the sand hills, and it's just you drive through them, and you're like, you could build golf courses anywhere out there. I mean, there's these huge just sand blowouts where I'm told that's where the livestock huddle when it's cold, so these blowouts are created. And you're just driving around and you're like, there's a bunker, there's a bunker, there's a bunker. And so it's totally different. I would say um it's similar to like if you've been to but without trees, it's similar to like North Carolina around Pinehurst. If you've been there, they're sand hills as well,
Okay.
where you get that really firm turf and the ball will roll forever, and you don't have to move a ton of dirt to make a cool golf course. Most nothing in Iowa compares to the best courses in Nebraska. I mean, the best course in Iowa is Harvester, and it may scratch the top 10 in Nebraska.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
Nebraska's just a hotbed for golf. We got to get there.
I know,
You do.
I've heard Nebraska's kind of slept on a little bit.
Yeah, Prairie Club is a fantastic introduction to Sandhills golf because you get the Dunes course, which is out in the dunes, like the name says. That's a Tom Lehman, Chris Brand's design, and it meanders amongst the dunes. And you get the elevation changes, and then the Pines course is on the Snake River Canyon, so it's got holes that are out in the dunes, but it's also got holes that are almost like you're in a forest, like pine tree lined holes, and you can see the canyon. They don't take a ton of holes really close to the canyon because the public plays there, and that's a lot of liability, but there's definite greens you're on where you can go overlook the canyon and things like that. So it's really, really cool. It's a great introduction. I was fortunate enough this year, I'm wearing the shirt, I got invited to play Sandhills, the OG, and just it's like another level. And Corcoran, there's not a bad hole out there. There's 18 10 out of 10 golf holes on that golf course. And then so it's very comparable to the dunes. And then what I've been told is Caprock is, the Pines is like an introduction to what Caprock is like, but Caprock being fully private, they've got lots of holes that go right up to the edge of the canyon and holes where you play over the canyon. So pretty cool stuff. Wild Horse in Gothenburg, $85. It's the best value you can find anywhere. You just got to get to Gothenburg. It's like it's same type of thing. Super firm, pretty open, windswept, great bunkering, best greens probably that I played in Nebraska. They're just so fast. So get out to Sandhills. Take me with you.
Yeah, well, we'll just pick you up on the way. We probably got to drive through Iowa to get there, right? And I got to drive through Rochester, Minnesota to get to Iowa. So I'll pick up Mitch, and then we'll pick up you on the way, and we'll have a car trip.
Yeah, sounds great.
Depending on the kind of music Mitch forces us to listen to. I don't know what Mitch listens to, but he might annoy us with his music.
Why am I forcing the music? How am I getting blamed for this here?
I don't know. Because I'm not going to pick it. And you're going to be the next in the car.
Somebody's got to pick it. I suppose.
Yeah.
I'll just listen to some 2000s rap.
All right. Well, that's fine.
All right. I'll drive myself. I'll meet you guys there.
Easy enough.
We got a couple chats here that let me hit first. Chris at Rise and Fire Bets says, "What's up, guys?" and says Stone Ridge was awesome. Chris lives on the East Coast, and he traveled to Minnesota a couple years ago. Maybe it was even 3 years ago. I played with him at Stone Ridge. Stone Ridge is very unique to Minnesota golf. You've been there, right, Jake?
Yeah, I played it. I went up for the Ryder Cup in 2016. And so we played. It was really windy that day. It was probably 20 steady and gusts up to 30. But I loved it. I would play it. I mean, they charge us so much because it was Ryder Cup week. I think
it's pretty expensive.
Like doubled their green fees. So
yeah, it's pretty. They do have dynamic pricing there. They've always done that. So when they know it's going to be busy, they jack the prices up, and when it's kind of not so busy, it's not as expensive. But
Mhm.
in terms of Minnesota golf, like it's always windy there because it's like one of the only courses that I know of in Minnesota that's mostly linksy. So
Mhm.
you don't have to navigate trees too much. It's pretty wide open. Your problem when you miss is fescue. It's not trees. Um, but it is windy all the time because the course is surrounded by trees. All the inside of the course is links, but the surrounding situation is trees. So even if there's a little bit of wind, it just kind of sits below, like in between the trees, and it just kind of whips around in a little circle. So it's very unique course in Minnesota. It's awesome. I love it a lot. Chris, I'm glad Chris liked it when he came, but it's top tier, especially for a public course. And then
Mhm.
PT Husey, who we haven't seen in a few episodes. Mitch, he chatted along a few like 3-4 weeks ago. He says cheers,
Cheers.
cheers.
Well, so talking about golf and the golf courses, I want to switch gears a little bit and I want to talk about playing games on the golf course because you had a post that went a little haywire today, and
Yeah,
I'm
I've
ready to
been
talk
planning.
about some net golf.
I've been planning that one since Saturday. Um, I'm gonna pick on Brock, but Brock had said, I'd said to him that morning, I said, "What's more inevitable? One of the scratch golfers in our group complaining about having to give strokes, or Scotty winning the Open?" And he said, "Oh, definitely the scratch golfer complaining." And Brock complains about. He does it jokingly, but he complains about it. So I was workshopping that one since Saturday, and just but it got yeah, I got kind of the predictable reaction. So
Yeah,
go
it's
check it out. I need the views.
handicaps really just really fire people up, and they we talk about them all the time here because Mitch plays a lot of net golf at the club. I don't play a
Which
ton of
as a
net
scratch
golf.
handicapper is a nightmare.
Yeah, yeah, it is, and the handicap system itself is it's so old that I mean it just really doesn't work for what it should be doing nowadays anyway. But it's definitely built for like if you're a worse player and playing somebody that's scratch-ish, your your score potential is better, compared to what your handicap is better than what a scratch is. So in general, you just probably win more often. So that's why it sucks. Plus,
The
there's
point that got
the
made
what's that?
the point that got made a lot today on my thread was for match play. That's true. I think in match play because you play a 12 handicap. They make a lot of pars and a lot of bogeys, and then they have a couple eights.
Yep,
So that's hard to beat. So that in stroke play, it's a little bit more even, I think.
for sure.
You still have the sandbaggers that always go really low. So there was a lot of talk about, well, do 75 or 85% strokes, which I'm fine with. I'm just my whole point of my post was it's like I, I want to be Mitch. Like I want to get back to that level. I don't like getting strokes. But if you're gonna ask me to play for money and you're 6 shots better than me, I'm not gonna do it unless I'm gonna get some strokes. I'm not your personal ATM. I'm not gonna
Right, yeah.
but I mean, it doesn't mean I'm a bad person. I want to be you. I'm just not. So either we don't play for money, or if we play for money, we got to figure out a way to make it a little bit more fair, so I have a chance to win.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I was actually thinking about this a little bit today, because the probability of scores when you look at the scoring chart, right? So zero handicap shooting a two above their handicap or two below is roughly the same probability. So there's like a 4-shot swing where it's all going to be the same. And that's going to be the same for pretty much every handicap going up. So for some reason in my head, I was thinking, so if you're within 4 shots of somebody, you guys just play straight up because like every 3 rounds a scratch golfer is going to shoot two above their handicap, where a 4 handicapper every 3 rounds are going to shoot two below their handicap or right around there. So it's the probability of them competing straight up is actually pretty good for both sides outcome wise. And
Mm-hmm.
uh, just kind of thinking about a little bit how they can make the handicap system work, where they can still use the numbers today, but they can make it fairer so that you're not, a 0 handicap isn't going to go play a 15 handicap in match play and just get stomped because they're giving up so many damn strokes.
Yeah, and that's where I think 75% plays out. But I think like I was thinking about it because like I knew this was coming up tonight, and my number was like 3. Like I would play I would play somebody who's a 3 handicap as a 6 right now. I would play them straight up and see where the chips fall. But like I'm not gonna play you straight up, Mitch. I'm just not. Like
That's fine. I'll get
for
I'll
any
give
amount of
you 3 shots.
for any amount of money that would hurt, I'm not gonna do that. So but yeah, I don't think I can't think of a better solution to the handicap system, but it's just so arbitrary too because it's so dependent on the type of course you play.
Mm-hmm.
A good example this weekend, the Sandhills courses are rated super easy, and they're not. I mean, they're longer because it's bouncy. The greens are huge and undulated. The bunkers are challenging to get out of, but there's not a lot of penalty hazards. So that knocks it down. So I shot most of my rounds in the low 80s, one in the upper 70s, and the one outlier, and only like 2 of them counted. One got a PCC. And then I go play Corey Oaks on Monday. That's a tree line with water. It wasn't any harder than those courses, but an 82 ended up being one of my best of my last one of my best counting scores because it was rated like 73 and 140 or something like that because of all the penalty hazards. So I just think that the system, if you play a course that's rated too easy, your handicap's going to be inflated higher. If you play a course that's rated too hard, your handicap's going to be lower. So it's such a weird system. I don't know how to fix it, but
Yeah.
Well, something I would be curious about, because they have the raters. The raters come out, they play the course, and then they come up the rating. And I know they have some sort of scale that the USGA has them fill out to do that. I've never actually looked to see what that is and how they do it. But I feel like there's still some subjectivity to that, where the individuals kind of, well, it wasn't that hard for me, or if it was this way, it would be a little bit harder or a little bit easier. Like, I still don't think it's completely objective when they're going in to do it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I don't know. I've talked to a few people that have done course rating in the past, and they've told me so much of it is based on distance, and then what the number of hazards are. But I know, like with Elmwood, when they re-rated that, they can apply like modifiers because it does play more difficult, even though it's really short. And so our ratings went up. Like last year, the black white tees, which we played at the Elmwood X Invitational, was like 68, 122, and this year it's like 69.5, 128. So they applied some modifiers to make it play a little bit more difficult. Elmwood handicaps used to travel really well because
yeah. That's
Elmwood. You have to be striking the ball really well at Elmwood because it's pretty tight. I mean, those greens, you have to hit your spot. If you don't, I mean, you're rolling off. I saw guys hit shots that looked like they could be good, and then they just keep going and going and going and going, and then eventually they fall off the green and are running 50 yards away from the hole. It's crazy.
Yeah, I putt off the green at least once every single time I play there, I think.
I was lucky enough to never do that. As bad as I played, I just chipped a lot of times. I chipped multiple times in multiple holes. Also a problem.
It was pretty tight out there. So it's one of those courses that just entices you to try the recovery shot. Like if it were 500 yards longer, I think you'd be a lot more content pitching out because your recovery shot, rather than being 110 yard shots, 160, and it's like, okay, well, I'll just play smart and make my bogey. But no, you take on the recovery when it's shorter, and then that's how doubles and triples happen.
Yeah. I wish I was smart enough to figure out. There's a way to rate people and their golf skill better than how we're doing it now. I wish I was smart enough to figure that out. And I know there's a better way because a lot of the handicap system and the rating system and all that, that all dates back to like the early 1900s. So
Mhm.
a lot of the principles that are used in how you rate courses and all that stuff are insanely old, and we have so much more technology and so much more resources to try and um, classify courses better in terms of like how difficult they actually are, and then two, classify people in terms of how good or bad they are.
Mhm.
And knowing what we know about scoring, like a 20 handicap can somehow squeak out a 80, they can also shoot 140, whereas a scratch golfer doesn't have that wide of a margin. They can, they'll shoot 70 and then they'll shoot 78, and that's kind of the range, and occasionally they'll have a bad one. But we know more about the scores and the differentials of scores, and we basically what I'm saying is we know so much more about everything, but we're still using a system that most of its principles were created in early 1900s and then kind of sort of redone in like 1980s. So the whole thing is just old, and it just doesn't work. This is my favorite part because Jake mentioned the 75% thing. You can go on the USGA app or website. They give you your handicap. They're the ones that issue the handicap. And then right on their app, they say, "Hey, if you're going to play a competition, we gave you this number and we're pretty sure that that's right, but if you're playing a competition, you should adjust this number that we gave you because we're not sure it's actually right or not."
Pretty much, yeah.
So that's like the number one thing. You like, they just admit that they're not even sure their number's right because they want you to
Yeah.
adjust it to something else.
Yeah.
Well, when we
Obviously,
get
sorry, go ahead, Jake.
no, you go ahead, Mitch.
I was gonna say, I mean, obviously the three of us sitting here are not going to be able to fix the system.
No,
But
I'm an idiot. I'm
as,
not fixing anything.
as I'm sitting here thinking about it more and more, I'm like, what if your handicap was just your average score? So my average score right now is a 76.7. And they just take based on 72 plus or minus whatever, right? So my handicap would then be 4.7. Then you can take that and you can rate courses um, based on, I mean, there's got to be a way to just build an algorithm where you can see all of the scores that were posted on every single course, and then you can take the average scores of everybody in certain handicap brackets and then rate the score or rate the course based on how they do. So if somebody like me, who let's just say I'm a 0,
You're a
goes and
0.
yeah, 0.2. The plus went away.
Oh no.
But anyway, so if I go and I'm supposed to be able to shoot 72, but my average score at a specific course is a 77, well then that course should just be rated more difficult regardless, and regardless of what some arbitrary rater decides to go and rate the course as.
Yeah, there should be a data-driven way with the numbers that are shot to do it. Because I just looked at mine when you were talking, and my average score right now, because I play the course I play locally here it is easier, is 80.1. So like we're 4 shots apart on average score, but we're 6 shots apart on handicap because the courses. So I don't know that your system's perfect either, or maybe you just have to give me 4 instead of 6.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, that's really not that far off, right? 'Cause, I mean, it's a 2-shot difference. I mean, 76.7. So really it's what, 1.4 different. So it's not that far
Well,
off.
I'm 80.1, so that'd be 3.4 different.
Okay. Yeah.
So 1.7 per 9.
Yeah. I don't know. There's got to just be a better way.
There's too much math, and everybody who's tuning in now is like, I'm not going to listen to this anymore. I was told there would be no math.
That is a problem. You know what? I'm surprised it's you guys talking about the math. It is a problem here occasionally. It's usually me that talks about the math, and then I bore myself.
I'm a former banker. I do loans quite frequently for a living. We got a CPA over there, and then we have an engineer. So this is just there's just numbers running through our heads.
We just got three nerds just nerding out over stuff.
Exactly.
I got a question for you that's less nerdy. This is more fun, I think. You've played golf all over. You've listed your favorite, like, your top courses and stuff in general areas. Um, and I kind of touched on it before with like the different styles of golf. So you have, like, your Minnesota golf is like Parkland's very tree lined, very narrow. You have your sand hills. Um, you have like desert golf, all kinds of stuff. Do you have what's your favorite style of golf?
Oh, it's definitely the wide open, sandy, rough around the edges look. I mean, I Sand Hills is my favorite course. Prairie Dunes is right there. Kingsley Club, Lasonia Links. I definitely have a type. Tobacco Road, Whistling Straits.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I love like a good Parkland course. Cedar Rapids Country Club is awesome. Up in your, I guess it's not Parkland, it's more Northwoods, but like the Quarry at Giants Ridge, or Wilderness at Fortune Bay. There's a ton of courses in the Twin Cities that I'd love to play. The most of them are private, but like I've seen pictures of Minnetonka and White Bear Yacht Club and um, uh, Minneapolis, and there's one called Town and Country, which really intrigues me.
Hmm.
It seems like that one flies a little under the radar. So
Yep.
don't get me wrong, I love those courses, but like I don't know, I'm just a sucker for wide open spaces and
Yeah.
rough looking bunkers and crazy greens and nobody around.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of what I lean towards too. I always find it interesting because anytime anybody posts, like, here's my favorite courses of all time on Twitter, all of the top courses are usually very similar in style. So, like you said, you have a type. I think everybody has sort of a type. So I was interested if you were aware of yours or not. I
Yeah, for
I
sure.
personally myself love desert golf for very similar feelings as you have, in that I just kind of like sitting out there and just seeing nothing other than open space. And then usually
Mhm.
desert golf fairways are very wide, and that's very important for me because I suck ass with the driver. Um, but I also like playing golf when it's hot. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I'm not.
so it's very interesting to me that the people have their styles that they love.
Yeah, what does Mitch love?
So I was just thinking about that while you guys were talking, and it like I mean, the Legend, the Quarry, those courses, I really really enjoy. I think it's very similar to you guys. It's not as much the wide open, but I like the feeling, especially the Legend up at Giants Ridge. It's very secluded. So like you could be on a hole and there's could be, 10, 15 other groups out on the course and you will not see them anywhere. And I don't know, something about that's just awesome. It feels like you have the entire course to yourself, even though you don't. But just being out there in the woods, like it's a pretty neat place. I would go up there every single day if I could.
Hmm. Yeah, it's awesome up there. I've only been once, but I really enjoyed it, and I would definitely go back.
Mhm.
I really think they should send the tour up there. TPC, so we got TPC Twin Cities this weekend. TPC Twin Cities is just meh. I mean, it's a
Somebody shot
private course.
60
It's
out there
nice.
today.
What's that?
Saw that.
Somebody shot 60 out there today.
Yeah, course record. That was
Yeah.
Adam Svensson. Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's just a standard, like, private club in the middle of the city. Like, there's nothing special about it. And the reason they're there is because the PGA Tour owns it, so that makes sense.
Mhm.
But if you want to get my thought, I tweeted it to Mitch. My thought is, if you want to give viewers, because it's the pros are supposed to be an entertainment situation. If you want to give viewers an entertaining view of what Minnesota golf really is about, you're not getting that at TPC Twin Cities. If you send them up north and send them to one
Yeah.
of the resort courses up there where they can like, they'll have to close down the resort for a week or two or three, probably, whichever one they pick. But so maybe that's not super financially awesome for them, but you
Well,
send
I
them
mean,
up there
they would
and
not make so much money off of it.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure they would. I'm sure they'd be fine. But if you really want to showcase what Minnesota golf is about, you send the tour up north and put those courses on TV, and people would love it
Mm-hmm.
because
Which one would you send them to?
that is Minnesota. That's a good
I think it
question.
would have to be the quarry. I think that's the
Yeah,
only one that you can make challenging enough
yeah,
that actually make them have to think a little bit.
yeah, yeah.
I bet you could do it with Deacon's Lodge. Push
Deacon,
those guys all the way back at Deacon's.
yeah, you could probably do Deacons too.
There would be a lot of complaining about the quarry.
Because
Probably.
of the
They're gonna
difficulty.
get bounces they don't like.
Yeah,
They're gonna get
Well,
that's the best part.
It is, yeah.
The only problem is, I mean, obviously, is there's not enough lodging for it to happen. Like, you would never be able to make it work logistically. But it would be way cooler up there than at TPC Twin Cities. I think we can agree on that.
Yeah, they'd have issues with getting enough fans there too. I'm guessing because
That's what I mean. There's just not enough space to actually house people.
yeah, and people would just have to travel. There's just less people that live up north than there's so many fucking people in the cities that like they could fill TPC Twin Cities tomorrow just with people that could walk there. So
Oh yeah,
True.
sure.
so that would be part of it too. But yeah, I wish that they could be able to showcase more of what like golf here is like, because it's very unique compared to what you would get all of like on any of the coastlines and down south in desert golf. It's so much different here, and unless you've been around here in the Midwest like we are, you don't really get to experience this kind of golf because it's so unique. So. And you don't get that at TPC Twin Cities, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, part of the problem is, we're flyover country, right? So they don't really want to stop here. The only reason because 3M threw them a insane amount of money to make it happen,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, other than that, how many tour spots are there like in the let's just call it the upper Midwest, right? I mean, Nebraska, Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Illinois. So I mean, you have John Deere and the 3M.
Yeah, John Deere Classic. And then you got the one in Detroit.
And the one in Detroit,
I'm sure
too,
they don't
yeah.
want to go to Detroit either. So
Yeah,
Right.
and the Detroit one's fairly new as well, by the way.
Yeah.
I think that one started just a couple years before the 3M did. So, yeah, even on the tour, it's pretty new to be up here.
Right. So
I'm actually shocked they continued the 3M, by the way, because of the timing that it is in the schedule. It's so bad. It's always after the Open, and then a couple years there's been the President's Cup and Ryder Cup like directly after it. So just, anyways.
Yeah.
you get the guys you're getting the guys that are scrambling to make the top 70, or in their like Ricky Fowler's there this week.
Yep. JT
played last year.
He
was it 2
did,
years
as
ago?
he was on the
trying to
line.
make the President's Cup.
Yep. So we occasionally get guys here that are better than you would expect for it being end of the year and it being right after the Open. We always get Tony Finau for some reason. He's been here every year.
Maybe he just loves the Twin Cities, gets his
He
juicy
might.
Lucy's, and
He might. Maybe his 32 kids like being in Minnesota. I don't know.
yeah, Mall of America.
Yeah, they do a lot of
That's
shopping.
it. They
there.
like to go to the Mall of America.
Heck yeah.
If you live in Minnesota, I think you hate the Mall of America, and if you don't, it's like one of your favorite places when you come here.
Oh yeah, I would never go there.
When I worked up there, I worked at Northwest Airlines, and we used to go Fridays. We'd go over to the mall and just hit one of the food courts and get lunch. So that I was at the mall a lot.
Yeah, I would never go there shopping. Well, here's why. It's probably a fantastic place. I just hate people so much.
That's fair. you would love going to Prairie Club because there's not that many people around.
Yeah, I mean maybe that's why I
We're going to
enjoy
Prairie
the desert golf, the openness, because I don't have to look at people ever. It's fantastic. It's just me and the golf ball, and then the boys that I'm with, or the ladies if there's ladies there. But we figured it out. I hate people, which equates to open golf courses.
There you go.
Yes. So,
What else you got, Mitch? You got more stuff?
there's not a lot on the list anymore. I mean,
well, Par's the social construct was one that I don't know if you were joking about that.
I was halfway joking, but I did post something on Twitter like 2 weeks ago, saying basically the same thing, that par is just a made up number, and
Yep.
I got some heat for that.
I think we're all on the same page there, by the way.
Number.
Well, and how many dumb decisions do we make? I still do it, and I know par's a made up number, and I still do it because it's like, oh, this hole's a par four. I'm supposed to be on in two, but it's like I could save myself so many strokes if I just like, well, this is a 450 yard. I know that's a driver and a flip wedge for Josh, but for mortals, it's a long hole. It's a 450-yard hole. I'm probably making five, so let's play the hole to make a five rather than, or still be aggressive and try to make a four, but once I'm out of position, don't force myself to try to get back in position because some stuffy white guy in a blazer decided this was a par four. So
yeah, we talk about that a lot here, that sometimes you have to change your mindset about what is this hole, because there's a 2 par fours on my home course that stretch out 450 yards plus, or no, there's 3 holes that do that from the tips, and if you catch them into the wind, I mean, now you're playing them 500, 520 yards. Like, if you make 5 on that day, that's a good score. Like, most people are going to make 5 or worse. Like, getting a 4 it's a birdie at that point. It's a really, really good score.
Yeah.
It's about flipping that mindset of what is a good score, what's a good outcome. Because, like you said, that when you have this idea of par, of that's what we should be getting, then you're trying to get to that number no matter what, even though your specific situation changes based on the weather. It changes based on where your tee shot ended up, where your second shot ended up. Like, you have to continue to change your mindset about what is a good score based on what is currently happening.
Yeah. The like this week, the first round we played at the Dunes, it was the first hole is like it's in the 420s, I think, but it plays uphill. And it was, for whatever reason, like the first 3 holes on Friday morning, it was blowing 30, and then the wind just died. So it's playing straight into it. I hit a really good drive. I hit a really good 3-wood, and I was still 50 yards short. And so 5 was a good score. That I pitched it on the green and 2 putted for a 5. That's a good score.
Yeah.
But
I just came up with a brilliant idea just now. Let me run this by you guys. Are you ready for this?
okay.
You know how we have like we were just talking about Stone Ridge, how they have dynamic pricing depending on the demand for the day? Dynamic par.
There you go.
So there's scoring apps all over the place now, right? I hardly use a paper scorecard ever anymore. Occasionally, if you're playing like a match, and it's a little bit easier to like write down strokes and stuff versus using an app. But for the most part, I use an electronic app. The app, using GPS, has all the weather information on it. It should be able to tell, like, if it's raining that day, or if the wind is directly into you on a longer par 4. And it also has all the data from every user that's ever played that course and that hole. The apps should be able to adjust the par number by day. And then that would make golf way more enjoyable, especially for people that just are so hyper fixated on, like, this is a par 4, I need to get 4. What if the app recognized that it's now 50 degrees today and the wind is blowing 20 miles into your face? This par 4 is now like a par 5.5, and it just adjusted that for you. Golf might be more enjoyable.
Yeah.
I might have just solved golf now.
Could it just do that based on strokes gain data?
That too, yeah. They have all that data in their database.
Yeah.
I think that's what they used to do in the UK before they adopted the World Handicap System. Is every day, depending on the weather conditions, the course pro or whatever would set, I think it's called standard scratch score. And so one day, like, if you're and they used to count all your scores, like it was a rolling average. It wasn't your best score. So like a scratch was legitimately, a scratch in the UK was better than a scratch in the US, because they were counting all 20 scores rather than 10 or 8 or whatever we used to count. And they would just adjust it day by day. And that's what would go into the computer is, yesterday we were 71, today we're 73. And so you play well on the 73 day, it means more to handicap than playing well on the 71 day, and then they went away with that when they joined the world handicap system.
That feels like a way better system.
World Cup never good.
I really like what I've read about the old UK system. I think it was better. Like, I mean, rolling average is pretty easy to manipulate though, but they would also only count scores that were played in actual competition. So the club had to declare the competition for your score to count.
I don't hate that either. You know what? I think the main problem is the USGA wants they are so desperate to have so many users and have so many people that have handicaps that it just has to be the way it is. Like if you just force people to only input competition rounds, the app users would decline by like 70%.
Yeah, for sure. And there goes that advertising revenue.
Yep, that's
right. Exactly. I mean, like public courses, they just don't have enough like competition to make that work. Whereas, you know, your private courses, you're going to have, you know, weekly leagues, you're going to have, you know, you might have some weekend stuff, you might have match play events going on, but yeah, your public courses are never going to get that much competition rounds to make it happen.
Yeah. So you guys could do that at your guys' clubs for sure, like because there's competition and stuff going on all the time. But yeah, for me as like a public golfer, I don't play competition hardly ever, as much as I would like to anyway.
Right. Mm-hmm. So I got one last thing here before we
Perfect.
go. We're starting to push up against it. We've talked about, you know, net golf tonight. We've just talked a little bit about competition. Something that a member at my club had mentioned is that there should always be a net and a gross division in every tournament that they play. Member guest, Ryder Cup, whatever event is going on, there should always be a net and a gross so that people can decide. And as I think about it more, I think it makes a lot of sense because there's some really good golfers who will just not compete in net events because they know they can't compete. They're not going to have fun. And they're just like, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to go donate my money to a 12 handicapper. Kind of like the opposite round. Like you're not going to play somebody, Jake, right, who's 6 shots better than you for money. But on the flip side, they're not going to go play somebody 12 shots worse than them because they're not going to win those events.
You know, the funny thing is in a tournament, I would enter the gross division every time.
Yep.
I'd rather play gross and just see where I fall out, even if it's going to be, well, like so I belong to 2 courses. Fawn Creek's just a little 9-hole course here that I play at, and their club championship's coming up. And I'll play in that. And like, there's, even though it's a small course, there's some legitimately really good players. Like if I can finish somewhere between 7 and 15, I'll have had a really good weekend. Mm-hmm. So that's my goal. And I would rather do that than play in a net club championship where it's flighted. I'd rather just go out, you know, I'm not going to win any money, but it's $50 to enter or whatever. I'd rather just play in that and see where I shake out versus I actually hate playing golf for money. Like I hate money games. I do it because some of my friends want to, and it's like, all right, well, you know, if that's what makes them happy, I'll do it. But I would much rather just play my ball, deal with whatever's going on up here, and see where it ends up. Like a post round drink on the line rather than cash changing hands. So
yeah, I'm on the same page as you.
I agree wholeheartedly. You should have gross and net and everything, even the weekly, like a Saturday morning game or whatever. If your club has that, should have a gross option and a net option.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it just makes it more fun, and I think you get more members wanting to play because they can go and compete against however they want, right? And just more fun.
Yeah, amen. So did we fix golf?
I think.
Of course.
I think we have I think we have a really good base. Somehow we have to continue building on these. We have to, share this podcast with the authorities who are in charge. So the USGA, whoever's in charge of that, get Jay from the PGA involved. I don't know. Maybe not him. Maybe somebody else.
We're gonna have to block them from old episodes though, because I don't say very nice things about them very often. So.
Well, they know they have it coming. But anyway, we are up against our hour. We've held Jake hostage here long enough.
This was fun. This was a blast.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you coming on. It's been a good time. It's always good to get other people on here, so it's not just me and Josh over here complaining about our game. We
Yeah.
should have let you guys complain a little bit about your drivers, but maybe we'll do that next time.
I'll just
I
tweet
went.
about
I
it.
went and tried a mini driver and it didn't work. So
Oh no. Uh-oh. So the solution now is you gotta go to the driving range, huh?
yeah, I got to actually practice.
Shoot.
Yeah. That's the worst part, man. You got to practice.
Yeah. Same,
All
man.
right.
Same.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment, share. Go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and leave a 5-star rating and a positive review. And we appreciate you guys tuning in. That's all we got for you tonight. We will see you guys all next Thursday at what time, Josh?
8 p.m. Central Normal Time. That's the only time zone that matters. There are no other time zones. If you're in one of those, you have the wrong time at all times. Okay? Goodbye.
Perfect.